Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Brennan with Gongs Unlimited, and in front of me I have two Shruti boxes. And they look identical, but there's a big difference. This one is perfect. This one, not perfect. It's got buzzing reeds. You might say, how do I know if my Shruti box has buzzing reeds? Well, let me show you. If you unclamp your Shruti box like this, and you start playing and you pick a couple notes, sounds normal enough. That, on the other hand, doesn't. And a lot of people get this issue either when they first get their Shruti box or as they continue to have it. And any sort of reed instrument can suffer from a shifting of the reed, weather changes affecting things, humidity, all that stuff. And so it's perfectly normal to deal with a buzzing reed. But I'm going to show you how to fix it. And on this Shruti box right here, we've got 3 reeds that are buzzing. And so I'm going to walk you through the process of taking off this cover and then what we do to actually fix those reeds. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take, I just took some painter's tape here, but some sort of tape that's not going to ruin the varnish or finish of this wood. And you're going to mark all the reeds that are buzzing because we're going to have to take this off. And you're just going to want to be able to keep track of who's bad and who's good. We have these 2 little, I don't know what you want to call them, these little hooks that are keeping the this face on. And we're going to swing them out to the side so we can take this off. One of them is pretty tight, so I'm going to loosen it with this flathead screwdriver. Make sure you have a screwdriver. This is just a general life lesson. Make sure you have a screwdriver that properly fits the screws, whether it's a Phillips head or a flathead. Screwdrivers come in all, well, not all shapes, but they do come in all sizes. And if you have one that's too small, you can damage the screw head and then make it harder to put it back in. And if it's too big, it won't work. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to loosen all of these outer screws that are holding on the face of this here Shruti box. And it's worth noting that if you have a screw gun, an electric screwdriver at home, I don't think that this is the correct use for a power tool. These are small, delicate screws, and in something like this where you might have to do a little bit of testing, taking this on, taking it back off, you really don't want to risk out stripping out the screws. So we want to put them in and take them out pretty gently. And once those screws are out, we're going to shimmy this lid off. And then as you see, there's nothing. It's because what we're looking for is on the back side. And so we're going to want to make sure we take these screws out all the way so that we can lay this down on its face. Flip it like that. Because these are the reeds that we're going to be working on. I'm actually going to lay these reeds down on my table surface, not on top of the Shruti box. I would be a fool to do such a thing. And so now I'm left with all of these tiny little brass reeds. This is the moment where you say, okay, I'm glad that I taped these, because now you can look at which one of these little knobs has a piece of tape on it, and then you turn it around and find the corresponding reed. And so this is one that was buzzing pretty severely. And in general, you want to be very, very gentle with these reeds, because just a small displacement can affect how it plays. And so if I am to grab this reed right here, which was working on it properly, versus one that wasn't working, it's likely not picking up on the microphone, but I can audibly tell the difference, that this one is having just a little more zhuzh, and it's also releasing a bit more comfortably than this one, which feels a little bit stuck back in this corner right here, where this one I feel like I can push all the way through. And if I look at another reed that was buzzing quite significantly, or I can't quite tell the difference, which is once again why you want to make sure that you tape the other side so that even if you can't see, you can turn it around and expect to see something visibly that's just terribly wrong, but sometimes it's going to be more subtle than that. And so what I have here is just your good old-fashioned, all-American, made-in-China nail file. And you can get this at any, probably dollar store, but any, pharmacy store. If you can't find a nail file, I don't know what to tell you. But if you're someone who does a lot of handiwork and you have a metal file on hand, that's also perfectly cool. You just want to make sure that you get the smallest one that money can buy because, like I said, these are quite gentle. And so you don't want to be shoving a, quarter-inch thick, eighth-inch thick file under these because what we're going to do is file them. And if you see, the reeds have already been filed. And so the sound is coming from the flapping of this reed in between this gap that has been made for it. And if the reed gets shifted in any way, then it's going to start to meet some resistance. And when it meets that resistance, you're going to get a buzzing sound. What we're going to have to do about that is we're going to have to go around the edge and put a small burr on the metal. A very small burr because anything significant is going to potentially take it out of tune. Less is more in this instance. You want to be conservative, but make sure you've at least done something. Because if you know something's wrong, that means something has to be done. So once again, this is a reed I know I have an issue with. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently take this nail file and I'm going to lift the reed up. And then I'm just going to file the edges underneath. Same on the other side. And make sure you don't pull the reed too aggressively up or too far up. You just want to gently hold it somewhere within its normal range of motion. And get in there with your nail file. We're going to do the same with the other ones who are giving us an issue, such as this gentleman. And once you feel like you've given it a nice go around, the only thing there is to do is to test it. And so we're going to put this off to the side, bring our Shruti box back, and give it a go. We want to be gentle when putting these screws back in. And so I'm going to hand tighten these screws into the wood, into this upper block of wood. Because if what we didn't do enough, and we still have to go back, we're going to have to unscrew the board again, and you just don't want to keep doing that and potentially ruin your boring for these screws. For the testing process, you should be able to get away with not putting every single screw all the way in. And so I'm just going to put one in each corner and then the middle screws tight. But you have to make sure you have at least the screws in this hole if you're not going to tighten it all the way down, because otherwise air will escape from it and you'll be left with other weird noises and you'll start chasing those all day. So we're going to lift the Shruti box back up. And we're going to take one of the notes that was struggling before and see if it's still struggling to this very day. I don't know if you can hear that from where you are, but there ain't a buzz in sight. Let's check the next reed. Still got a buzz. And lastly, the third reed. Much fainter, but still there. And so we had success on about 1.5 of the reeds, which is fine by me because, like I said, I would rather open it up a couple times than take too much material off, which is then how you can permanently affect the tuning of that reed if you make it too small. And so we'll just go back through again, fix up those last 2 reeds, take the tape off of the one that works, and then we'll have a happy Shruti box. The second buzzing reed is now happy. The third. It's the happiest little reed I've ever heard. And simple as that. We've got a working Shruti box. And so now you can tighten those very last screws that haven't gone in yet. You can shroot to your heart's content, or you could box to your heart's content. Whatever you think of as the verbiage for using a Shruti box. Screws are in. Put your hooks back, take your tape off, and now you've got a perfectly good, perfectly working Shruti box. And so if you get your Shruti box from us at Gongs Unlimited, and it's got a buzz, or you've had it for a few months and it starts to buzz like that, feel no fear, and just know that this video is here to show you about what to do with your broken Shruti box. Thanks for watching.